I spend a lot of my time reading finance literature, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and every now and then you come across a little nugget of gold. A piece of information or maybe a perspective that stops and makes you think, wow, I never thought of that. And I had one of those moments recently with something that Dave Ramsey said. Hello guys, Brad here from The Guide to the Investor. Welcome back to the channel for another video. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button because I post regular videos about how you can do more with your money. And today we are talking about a little nugget of gold that Dave gave me. Now, if you're into personal finance, there is a very good chance that you've heard of Dave Ramsey. He's an American-based personal finance expert, and he's basically built an empire around his baby steps. Now, I don't agree with everything that Dave says, but I do like him. I like the fact that he has a no BS approach, and he basically tells people what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. I was recently listening to one of his podcasts, and he said something that really resonated with me. He said that we are all self-employed. And on the surface, this seems silly, right? Because you've got employees and you've got employers. But if you dig a little deeper, this is a really good message. The biggest wealth building tool that we have is our income. We use our income to invest, pay down debts, and build our net asset position. But as an employee, it's generally accepted that we have little control over our income because it's set by our employer. But this is simply not the case. Your income really is a representation of the skills you possess, your tenacity, and your willingness to work hard. Now, obviously there is a factor of luck involved in income as well, but we can't control luck, so let's take that out of the equation. So even though as an employee, there's a third party paying you, you're still in control of all of the factors that make up a higher income. So it's incumbent upon you to work on your skills, your education, your training, your experience, your work ethic. All of these things you can work on, and they'll all allow you to demand a higher salary. So instead of seeing yourself as an employee, see yourself as a contractor. You're running a business, you are the sole asset of that business, and your employer is the client. Now, what you do in that business is you rent out your time and expertise in return for a fair salary. As your skills and your experience progress, the more valuable your time becomes. And the more you know and the more capable you are, the more you're worth to an employer. So this allows you to demand a higher wage. And if your existing employer isn't willing to give you that pay rise, then move on to someone who will. Now, there is a big difference between thinking you're worth more and actually knowing you're worth more. If you're the kind of person that goes into work every day and applies the minimal effort in order to get paid, then it's probably not reasonable to expect that you're gonna be worth any more than what you're currently getting. But if you're proactive and you're constantly improving, then sure, you're in a position where you can demand a higher salary. So instead of doing the minimum, do extra. Put in that extra effort that it takes in order to build your skills and make your time more valuable. And this allows you to build a foundation to open up that conversation with your employer and say, hey, I think I'm worth more than what I'm currently being paid. And if they're not willing to come to the party, then another person will. Some of the value adding activities that you may wish to do include the following. Complete higher formal education, educate yourself further with free resources like podcasts, blogs, YouTube videos. There really is some great free resources out there these days. Proactively seek more responsibilities at your current workplace. Show up early, leave late, assist others around you to help them become better and more proficient at their work, and show care and pride in every task you do, no matter how mundane it may be. All of these activities build you as a person, and as a result, your contracting business becomes more valuable. One of the best investments that you can make is an investment in yourself because it's gonna pay the highest dividends. Now, sometimes it can get a little disheartening when you put in all this extra time and this extra effort and it's not recognized. You don't get a thanks and you don't get any higher pay. But remember why you're doing this. You're doing this to build your own skills. And if your current employer doesn't realize that, then someone in the future will. Because when you are more valuable, you have the right to force that conversation with your existing employer, or move on to someone else who's more willing to listen. But that's it for me today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I really do hope that you like this video and it inspires you to push a little harder and do a little bit more to invest in yourself. Because at the end of the day, an investment in yourself is something that no one can take away from you, and it's gonna pay great dividends in the long run.